Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Wakah HaKwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. All right, so today I got another clip for you guys. I'm gonna run it. We're gonna respond to it through the spirit, and we're gonna go into, people's perception on slavery in the modern day, as opposed to what actually happened in history, and how slavery is gonna play out in the kingdom of heaven. All right, because there's a lot of misconceptions. Okay, so with no further ado, here is the clip.
I remember my guy come out telling me Black American chattel slavery was not just for economic reasons. It was for revenge. That's why it was so barbaric. That's why they would do things like eat us, cook us, rape the men and the women and the children and all that crazy shit. And I was like, revenge for what? He was like, well, we ruled Spain. I had to go do my own research. And I was like, okay, the Moors ruled Spain for 800 years, from 711 to 1492. Now, when did Christopher Columbus sail the ocean blue? When did he discover the Americas? Christopher Columbus grew up in a black ruling society. All of the math and the sciences and the religion and the cooking and the food and the knowledge of bathing and more things that the Moors brought to Spain. So this really was revenge. This was really them saying, y'all had your turn, we get it, now watch what we do. Why don't we ever learn that in school?
Well, you don't learn it in school because it would just be contradicting to a lot of the lies that white insecurity pushes. And as far as the revenge thing, it's much deeper than revenge, man. These Edomites, they have an ancient hatred for us, going all the way back to Cain, all right? The same spirit that was in Esau. It's always been a reoccurring theme that they have that deep-rooted hostility and animosity towards us because the Lord created them to be the antagonist in his movie. Okay, but the cattle slavery that we went through here in Babylon, it wasn't called for the way that they did it. All right, and the scriptures even say that. But we're gonna run the clip again a second time, and I'm gonna pause it as we go through it this time and address some of the things that were said and bring our precepts, definitions, historical context along the way.
Come out telling me Black American chattel slavery was not just for economic reasons. It was for revenge. That's why it was so barbaric. That's why they would.
So again, like we just mentioned, it's deeper than that. They want to separate us from our power because everything that the Edomites do is motivated to get the blessing back. The blessing that Esau sold to Jacob, okay, for that raw meat. He didn't value the things of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. He didn't value the things of the Most High. All right, and now he's paying for it, and he's going to continue to pay for it. As his kingdom goes down, and as the kingdom of heaven is established, and he's at the bottom. So, when Esau was supplanted for the blessing in Genesis 27 and 41, this was the mentality. This was the mentality that Esau had. It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of the mourning for my father are at hand. Isaac was about to pass away, so he plotted in his heart, once his father passed away, he would just kill Jacob and get the blessing back. He would just end him right there, end his line right there. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. That is the same spirit that's in the Edomite today. Now let's go to Ezekiel 35. All right. Ezekiel 35. All right. And I'll just start at the top here so you know who is being addressed in this chapter. Here it goes. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, capital in Edom, right? And prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord God, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. The Lord is against this people. All right? Oftentimes, when the scriptures mention a place, keep in mind, it's a people before a place. The same way Jerusalem is always a people before it's a place. Okay, so here's addressing the Edomites. O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. They're gonna be the most desolate. And they're the only nation in the scriptures who's prophesied to be rooted out completely. Obadiah 1:18 and many other places. All right, verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Because, why? Why is this going to take place? Because thou hast had a perpetual, non-stop, had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword, and the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. So yeah, we were supposed to be taken into captivity, but the extent and the things that they did within our captivity, in that cattle slavery, they took things much too far. So there is a recompense for the way that they did things. There is a upright way to have dominion over a people. Okay, David had dominion over the people. Yeah, he put harsh bondage over them, but the things that these people were doing were gravely wicked and unlawful, according to the Lord's standard. You shouldn't be raping a man in front of his family. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You shouldn't be eating. Read the book, The Delectable Negro. You think we're making shit up when we say that they were actually eating? Yeah, it was food, but they said, no, I want to eat you. They were eating their captives. This man is demonic. All right? Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, said thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. All right, so let's get back to the clip.
Things like eat us, cook us, rape the men and the women and the children and all that crazy shit. And I was like, revenge for what? He was like, well, we ruled Spain. I had to go do my own research. And I was like, okay, the Moors ruled Spain for 800 years.
And the Moors were just, Israelites that were going off. They had a lot of knowledge about, carnal, earthly things. But at the end of the day, they were going off because they didn't submit unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And also, it wasn't time for us to be permanently in rulership. When you go look up that word Moor here on the Edom Online, you look up the noun for Moor, it says North African, which we're not Africans. But for people to digest, they were dark-skinned people. But Esau just likes to say that all dark-skinned people are Hamites, which is not the case. Even when you look up in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, you look up Ham, it'll tell you that, all the dark-skinned races, not the Negroes. And even before Esau was on the scene, all the nations had brown hues to them. But anyway, back to this definition for Moor in Edom Online. It says one race dwelling in Barbary, go down here, Roman Northwest Africa, because Israelites, after the siege of Jerusalem, many of us were taken into Rome and absorbed into the Roman Empire. But as the Roman Empire fell, you have what you call the Holy Roman Empire that came into power. And Jake was in high positions, in ruling. Okay? But when you go down in the definition for more, it says black in quotations. And then it'll even say, when you go further down, their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro. Straight up says it. All right, so yeah, we were ruling in Europe.
11 to 1492. Now, when did Christopher Columbus sail the ocean blue? When did he discover the Americas?
So you had Edomites towards the latter end of the Moors ruling in Europe. They were marrying into the noble families and finagling their way back up in these positions, being, getting back to being the popes and in these high positions. And, they moved. That Renaissance period, we talk about the Renaissance period, it's really just the rebirth of the Edomites coming back into power, so to speak. That's why during that time you had what you call iconoclasm, if you want to look that up. The whitewashing of all the holy images. The whitewashing of history itself. The whitewashing of the narrative. Okay? Which is why you don't hear much about this time period in the educational system, because it would just highlight the fact that these people are liars. It would highlight the fact that they're disingenuous. It would highlight the fact that you can't really trust anything that they're saying, because their whole goal is to prop themselves up like they always been, the pioneer of the world, when they're the pioneer of nothing. Jacob is the former of all things. Okay? But, it's this guy's putting it as like, oh, now we're even. No. Like what they did was just them evening the score. No. Hell no. Absolutely not.
Christopher Columbus grew up in a black ruling society. All of the math and the sciences and the religion and the cooking and the food and the knowledge of bathing and more things that the Moors brought to Spain.
The Moors did more than teach people how to bathe. Okay? The irrigation systems. There's reports of them actually having lit cities. The way that the disposal of waste, because in the when you get well into the 1600s, Europe became a complete shithole. Feces and all kind of stuff in the street. While places like Andalusia in Spain, where Jake was still kind of doing okay a little bit for a time, was clean and sanitary. These people are nasty. In every sense of the word. Spiritually, mentally, physically, they're just nasty.
So this really was revenge. This was really them saying, y'all had your turn. We get it. Now watch what we do. Why don't...
Yeah, so, as always, there might be a pinch of truth within what Jake is saying, but the perspective and the full take is always wrong. The only way you fully understand what the hell is going on is if you're, seeking after Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay? You're occupied in prophecy. Other than that, you're never going to see all the way clear. So, Abba Ratazah, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth and sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon Yahweh. Shalom.